Welcome to Millennium Time Bulletin. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi and you're watching Millennium News Channel 24. Today I'm bringing you the latest updates from around the world. Let's begin with today's top headlines. Hamas expected to release 33 hostages in first phase of emerging ceasefire deal, Israeli official says. Sri Lankan President Disanyaki arrives in Beijing on a 4-day visit to China as India watches keenly. Los Angeles firefighters on alert for return of extreme winds. TikTok users flock to Chinese app Red Note as US ban looms. NATO launches new mission to protect crucial undersea cables. US buying Greenland takes official turn, Trump to get powers to negotiate. Spain plans 100% tax for home bought by non-EU residents. US market rally while Latin America shows mixed signals. Lebanon's Hadi Habib enjoys biggest achievement of tennis career after making history at the Australian Open. India beat Nepal in Kho-Kho World Cup opener. Now let's look at the details. Hamas is expected to release 33 hostages during the first phase of the emerging ceasefire agreement being finalized by negotiators in Doha. Two Israeli officials said the first positive sign in months that a truce in the Israel-Hamas war may be in sight. Officials have expressed cautious optimism that a deal could soon be announced to halt 15 months of fighting that has destabilized the Middle East and devastated Gaza, allow for more aid into the besieged Palestinian enclave, and ensure the return of dozens of hostages held by the Hamas since its attack on Israel on October 7, 2023. Hamas and its allies still hold 94 of the 251 hostages taken from Israel, including at least 34 of whom are dead. According to the Israeli government, Israel believes that most of the 33 hostages to be released in the first phase of the deal are alive, a senior Israeli official told reporters on Monday. But the bodies of dead captives will also likely be among their released. The first phase would take place over the initial 42-day ceasefire. The senior Israeli official said the parties appear to be on the verge of an agreement and that Israel is prepared to immediately implement the deal once it has been inked. US President Joe Biden expressed similar optimism in a speech on Monday, focused on foreign policy, saying the United States was pressing hard to close this deal. The deal we have structured would be free the hostages, halt the fighting, provide security to Israel, and allow us significantly surge humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians who suffered terribly in the war that Hamas started. They have been through hell, Biden said. Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump told Newsmax that his understanding is that there has been a handshake and they are getting it finished. Trump's incoming special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, previously told reporters he was working alongside Biden administration official during the negotiations and hoped to get a temporary ceasefire deal enacted before Trump's inauguration on Monday. A diplomat close to the negotiations told CNN a final round of proximity talk to finalize any issues was scheduled to take place in Doha on Tuesday. The same day, some of the hostages' families have been invited to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, according to the Hostages and Missing Families Forum. On Tuesday, protesters formed a human chain outside the Israeli parliament, also known as the Knesset, to demand the release of all remaining hostages held in Gaza. Many have had large banners with the names and faces of the captives alongside the word "Don't lie" and "Don't leave me behind." One demonstrator, Shay, said the family members held in Gaza had been released in a previous ceasefire and hostages deal in November 2023, while another, her cousin, have been killed in the Hamas captivity in the enclave. "From my family, I know how it is and when someone comes back alive on a deal," she said. "We are not going to let go for any one of them. We want all of them back home. And it sounds like there is a chance right now, but we can't let it go until we see stepping here in Israel." Quadra Affairs, the head of the Palestinian Commission for Detainees and Ex-Detainees, told CNN on Monday that he was traveling to Doha to advise negotiators on the list of detainees to be released in the event the deal materializes. Sri Lankan President Anura Kumar Dissanayake arrived here on Tuesday on a 4-day visit, during which he is scheduled to hold talks with the Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping and other Chinese leaders on deepening bilateral ties. Upon his arrival, the president was accorded a ceremonial welcome by the Chinese military and he was formally received by China's Deputy Foreign Minister Shen Diongdong, according to a press release issued by the Dissanayake office in Colombo. This is Dissanyake's second overseas visit, the first being to India since assuming office in September last year. During his China visit, Dissanayake will hold bilateral talk with President Xi Jinping on areas of mutual interest and will also meet Chinese Premier Li Qiang and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress of China, that is Zhao Leji. Several memorandum of understanding, that is MOUs, aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation between Sri Lanka and China are expected to be signed during the visit. The presidential office press release said on Tuesday, during the state visit, Dissanayake is scheduled to participate in several key engagement and undertake field visit focused on technological and agricultural development as well as initiatives aimed at poverty alleviation. The visit also includes high-level business meeting and discussion, it said. The visit to People's Republic of China will further strengthen the long-standing ties between the two countries, that is Sri Lanka and China. The Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry said earlier a host of issues, including permitting Chinese research vessel regarding any spy ships by India, Sri Lanka's debt commitment to China, stated to be Colombo's largest creditor, and expansion of the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) investment are expected to figure in Dissanyake's talk with the Xi Jinping. Los Angeles firefighter braced on Tuesday for a new round of intense wind that could fuel two monstrous wildfires that have already killed at least 24 people, leveled entire neighborhood, and scorched an area the size of Washington, D.C. Much of the Los Angeles and Ventura County have experienced wind gusts of 50 to 70 mph from early Tuesday through Wednesday as dry Santa Ana winds picked up after relative calm last week. According to the National Weather Service, it declared a red flag warning, meaning the situation was dangerous and could ignite new fire while stoking those already burned. This setup is about to be bad as it gets, Los Angeles City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley told the local residents. "We are not in the clear," highlighting the risk. A small but fast-moving new fire erupted overnight in the scrubland in the bed of the Santa Clara River in the Ventura County, northwest of the Los Angeles. Ground crew and several helicopters were working to contain the so-called auto fire, which had raised up 56 acres and was burning near a golf course but not yet threatening homes. In anticipation of the winds, more than 8,500 firefighters attacked the two biggest wildfires from the air and on the ground, aiming to prevent them from spreading overnight. State authorities on Monday pre-positioned firefighting crew in Los Angeles and other Southern California counties that were under elevated fire dangers. The Palisades and Eaton fire erupted on the city's western and eastern flanks during last week's intense wind, but crew made progress in controlling them since the weekend. At least 24 people have died in the blazes, according to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. This toll will be likely risen, officials said, as crew carried out house-on-house searches in burnt-out neighborhoods. The Eaton fire damaged the Altadena home of the Lauren Bryan, 63-year-old, and destroyed two other dwellings on her property. She told Reuters she was worried about getting refills of insulin that she needed to manage diabetes. "I'm worried about insurance and about rebuilding and getting on my feet," Bryan said on Monday, standing in the doorway of a child home. "I need my medication and I'm trying to see how and who can help us." TikTok users in the US are migrating to a Chinese app called Red Note with the threat of a ban just days away. The move by users who call themselves TikTok refugees have made Red Note the most downloaded app on Apple's US App Store on Monday. Red Note is a TikTok competitor popular with young people in China, Taiwan, and other Mandarin-speaking populations. It has just 300 million monthly users and looks like a combination of TikTok and Instagram. It allows users, mostly young urban women, to exchange lifestyle tips from dating to fashion. Supreme Court justices are due to rule on a law that set a 19 January deadline for TikTok to enter sell its US operation or face a ban in the country. TikTok has repeatedly said that it will not sell its US business, and its lawyers have warned that a ban will violate the free speech protection for the platform's 170 million users in the United States. Meanwhile, Red Note has welcomed its new user with open arms. There are 63,000 posts on the topic TikTok refugee, where new users are taught how to navigate the app and how to use basic Chinese phrases. To our Chinese host, thanks for having us. Sorry in advance for the chaos, a new US user wrote. But like TikTok, there have also been reports of censorship on Red Note when it comes to criticism on the Chinese government. In Taiwan, public officials are restricted from using Red Note due to alleged security risk of Chinese software. As more US users joined Red Note, some Chinese users have also jokingly referred to themselves as Chinese spy, a reference to US officials concerned that TikTok could be used by China as a tool for spying and political manipulation. Red Note's Chinese name, Shuang Hongshu, translates to Little Red Book, but the app says it is not a reference to Chinese Communist leader Mao Zedong's book of quotations and the same name. The security concerns have not deterred users from flocking to Red Note. Sarah Fortingham, a 37-year-old school canteen worker in Utah, said the move to Red Note is a way to snub the government. "Just a simple person living a simple life," Miss Roger told the BBC in a Red Note message. "I do not have anything that China doesn't, but if my data that went to China, then it will be bad." NATO has launched a new mission to increase the surveillance of ships in the Baltic Sea after critical undersea cables were damaged or severed last year. NATO Chief Mark Rutte said the mission, dubbed Baltic Sentry, would involve more patrol aircraft, warship, and drones. His announcement was made at a summit in Helsinki attended by all NATO countries perched on the Baltic Sea, that is Finland, Estonia, Denmark, Germany, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Sweden. While Russia was not directly singled out as a culprit in the cable damage, Rutte said NATO would step up its monitoring of Moscow's shadow fleet, ships without clear ownership that are used to carry embargoed oil products. Tension between NATO countries and Russia have been mounting relentlessly since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. There is reason for a grave concern over infrastructure damage, Rutte said. He added that NATO would respond to such accidents robustly with more boarding of suspect vessels and, if necessary, their seizure. He declined to share more details on the number of assets that will take part in the Baltic Sentry initiative, as he said this could change regularly and that he did not wish to make the enemy any wiser than he or she is already. Undersea infrastructure is essential not only for electricity supply but also because more than 95% of internet tariff is secured via undersea cables, Ruth said, adding 1.3 million kilometers of cables guarantee an estimated $10 trillion worth of financial transaction every day. In a post on X, he said NATO would do what it takes to ensure the safety and security of our critical infrastructure and all that we hold dear. There has been an uptick in unexplained damage to undersea infrastructure in the Baltic in recent months. The more recent accident to undersea infrastructure saw an electricity cable running between Finland and Estonia be cut in late December. Finnish Coast Guard crew boarded the oil tanker Eagle S, which was sailing under a Cook Island flag, and steered into the Finnish water, while Estonia deployed a patrol ship to protect its under-cable power cable. On Monday, Rosho Rohi of Finland's National Bureau of Investigation told Reuters that the Eagle S was threatening to cut a second powered cable and a gas pipe between Finland and Estonia at some point, and it was also seized. Estonia's Foreign Minister Margus Tashanka said in December that the damage to submarine infrastructure have become so frequent that it casts doubt on the idea the damage could be considered accidental or merely poor seamanship. Tashanka did not accuse Russia directly, neither did Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, who on Sunday said while Sweden was not jumping to conclusion or accusing anyone of sabotage without very strong reason, it was also not naive. The security situation, that the fact that the strange things happen time to time again in the Baltic Sea also lead us to believe that hostile intent cannot be ruled out. There is little evidence that a ship would accidentally and without noticing it, without understanding that it could cause damage, he said. Donald Trump's plan to buy out Greenland has taken a serious turn. Republicans have started gathering support in the House of Representatives to pass a new bill to authorize the US president to enter formal negotiation to purchase Greenland. The bill, titled Make Greenland Great Again Act, is being circulated to gather co-sponsors for it. As on Monday, the bill already had 10 sponsors. It is being led by Republican Congressman Andy Ogles and Congresswoman Diana Harshbarger. This makes it official that Donald Trump, who will become US president next week, is serious about buying Greenland and making it a part of the United States. He has not said it on multiple occasions in the recent weeks as well, he said, and had even asked his advisors back in 2019 during his previous term as president how it can be done. President-elect Trump has ever been made it clear that under his presidency, the US will not hesitate the use of the military and economic measures to persuade Denmark and Greenland if a buyout option is declined by either of them. Greenland is a matter of US national security, and Washington under the Trump administration will go to any extent on the matter of national security, Donald Trump has said. After the historic win in the November 5 US presidential election, Donald Trump Republican Party has a majority in the both houses of representatives as well as in the Senate. This makes it simpler for the Donald Trump to execute his plan without too many hurdles in the way. According to the draft of the Make Greenland Great Again Act, Congress hereby authorizes the President, beginning at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 20, 2025, to seek to enter into negotiation with the Kingdom of Denmark to secure the acquisition of Greenland by the United States. It further states that not later than 5 calendar days after reaching an agreement with the Kingdom of Denmark relating to the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, the President shall shall transmit to the appropriate congressional committees the agreement, including all related material and annexes. Spain is planning to impose a tax of up to 100% on the value of properties brought by non-residents from the country outside the European Union, such as the United Kingdom. Announcing the move, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said in the unprecedented measure was necessary to meet the country's housing emergency. The West faces a decisive challenge to not become a society divided into two classes, the rich landlords and the poor tenants, he said. Non-EU resident brought 27,000 properties in Spain in 2023, he told an economic forum in Madrid. Not to live in, but to make money for them, which in the context of shortage that we are in obviously cannot allow, he added. The move was designed to prioritize available home from residents, the Spanish Prime Minister said. Sanchez did not provide any more details on how the tax would work, nor a timeline for presenting it to the Parliament for approval, where he has often struggled to gather sufficient votes to pass legislation. His office described the proposed measure as a way to limit the purchase of homes by non-resident, non-EU foreigners. It added the tax burden that they will have to pay in case of purchase will be increased to up to 100% of the value of the property, in line with countries such as Denmark and Canada. The Spanish government said the proposal would be finalized after careful study. Michael Hayes from the Manchester, who spent the weekend house hunting southern of Alicante, had wanted a property for family to visit and spend time during their retirement. We could look at properties quickly before the tax comes in, but we don't know what could happen in the future, she said. Selling could be tough if we can no longer sell to non-residents. Especially a holiday home property in a touristy area finds it difficult to be sold off. The 59-year-old said she empathized with their housing issue, but said she wanted to add the local economy and asked how many working Spanish people want to live in holiday homes in these tourist areas anyway. Martin Craven from London said he has been looking to buy in Spain this year. I definitely wouldn't consider trying to get it before the tax, because who knows what else could do, a retrospective tax or a tax on existing owners, the 62-year-old said. I'll be looking at Cyprus now instead. Julian Hunt, 54-year-old, said Spain was and his first choice to buy a holiday home, but now it's look more risky than other countries. Now bringing you latest updates on today's market trends. Today's global market reflect a cautious, optimistic tone, driven primarily by gains in the United States indices. The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 170.57 points, up 0.40%, buoyed by strength in industrial and a rebound in investor sentiment. Similarly, the S&P 500 rose 0.46% to 5,862.87, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq surged 0.71% to 19,224.33. Showcasing renewed confidence in technology and growth sector, the Russell 2000, a barometer for small cap stock, outperformed with a 1.14% increase, signaling broad-based market strength. Meanwhile, the VIX, an indicator of market volatility, dropped by 1.67% to 18.97, suggesting a calmer trading environment as fears of immediate economic turbulence eased. In Canada, the market narrative was less positive. The S&P TSX Composite and TSX 60 saw slight declines of 0.11% and 0.20% respectively. These movements reflect caution in resource-heavy sectors as commodity prices remain volatile. Latin America markets presented a mixed picture. Brazil's Bovespa index slid 0.27%, shedding 326.71 points as concern over economic reforms and fiscal tightening weighed on sentiment. Conversely, Childs S&P IPSA rose 0.64%, reflecting gains in mining stock amid stabilizing copper prices. Mexico's S&P BMV IPC remained nearly flat, down by 0.004%, suggesting tepid market activity. Overall, today's market trends highlight strong performance in the United States, driven by optimism in growth sectors, while regional dynamics in Canada and Latin America reflect a varying level of investor confidence. Traders will likely keep a close eye on economic data and central bank commentary in the coming days to assess the sustainability of this rally. The commodities market today exhibited a mixed performance, with energy prices under pressure while precious metal gained modestly. WTI crude oil dropped 1.13% to $76.43, reflecting concerns about potential oversupply amid sluggish global demand. Brent crude oil mirrored this trend, declining 1.16% to $80.07 as geopolitical uncertainties and weaker economic data weighed on sentiment. Natural gas suffered the steepest loss among all energy commodities, down 1.78% to $3.37. Warmer than expected weather conditions forecast and increased inventory levels have led to declining demand and pricing pressure in the natural gas market. On a more positive note, the precious metal market showed resilience. Gold edged up by 0.13% to $2,682.20, continuing to benefit from the safe haven appeal as investors remain cautious about macroeconomic uncertainty and potential shift in the central bank policies. Silver gained 0.42% to $30.43, supported by industrial demand and its traditional use as the inflation hedge. In the agriculture sentiment, soybean saw a modest rise of 0.62%, reaching $10.60, driven by concern about potential supply disruption in major producing regions. Today, performance underscores diverging trends with the commodity market. Energy prices are under pressure due to macroeconomic headwinds, while precious metals remain a haven for risk-averse investors. As market navigate these mixed signal, trader will closely watch upcoming economic data and central bank decisions for further directions. We'll be right back after a short break. I'm Shpata Samar. Keep watching Millennium Time Bulletin.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back after the break. I'm Shpata Samar and you're watching Millennium Daytime Bulletin. Now let's look at some sports highlights. Hadi Habib made history as the Australian Open by becoming the first tennis player from Lebanon to win a single match at a Grand Slam. The world number 219 defeated China's Bu Yunqiat 7-6, 6-4 and 7-6 on Sunday to reach the second round, sparking joyous scenes in the stand on court 13, where a large contingent of Lebanese fans had been cheering Habib on throughout the match. The 26-year-old held a Lebanon flag aloft after the match as the crowd chanted his name, Hadi, Hadi, Hadi. Habib also already made history in Australia by becoming the first tennis player from Lebanon to reach the main draw of a Grand Slam after coming through qualifying. Remarkably, it was the first time Habib had ranked high enough to even take part in qualifying for a Grand Slam, which was thanks to a maiden challenger tour title won in Chile in December. This is probably one of the best days of my career, honestly, Habib told reporters after the match. It's such an incredible feeling to get this win, not only for myself but for Lebanon and Lebanese tennis. As you guys could see, the crowd there was absolutely wild, so it made it even more special to win in front of them. This is a big achievement and the biggest achievement I've had in my entire career, he added. In beating Bo, ranked number 67 in the world, Habib also recorded the first win over a top 100 player in his career. Habib said the win is even more meaningful against the backdrop of war in the country, with Israeli attack killing hundreds of Lebanese. A fragile truce has held between Israel and Hezbollah since the war ended in the late November. Born in Houston, Texas, Habib says he lived in Lebanon between the ages of 6 and 12, and it was that there he picked up the tennis racket. India got off a brilliant start in the inaugural Kho World Cup as they registered a comfortable 42-37 victory over Nepal at the Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium in the New Delhi on Monday. Led by captain Pratik Vaikar, India's all-rounder performance rounded off a magnificent day of Kho action, providing the team with the perfect platforms. India's bright star defined the match as they wrapped up Nepal's first three defenders just 60 seconds into turn 1. Spearheaded by brilliant flying jumps from Pratik Vaikar and Ramji Kashyap, India raced to a massive 14 points lead with the 3 minutes remaining in turn of 1, having dismissed two batches of Nepal defenders. Sachin Bhargav, who replaced Pratik Vaikar as the Wazir, displayed the move of the night. He produced a spectacular skydive to take the score to 24 touch points at the break, preventing the Nepal team from achieving a dream run. That's all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates. Log in to stay updated with the latest news on our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Millennium News 24. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Millennium News 24. You can watch us on Android and iOS devices, as well as on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and all smart TV platforms. Enjoy entertainment and latest news with us. Download the Millennium TV app, Millennium TV USA for Android, and Millennium News on Google. Thank you for being part of Millennium News Channel 24.